Let's be honest, modern dating can feel impossible sometimes, right? Like you're trying to solve a puzzle, but you're missing half the pieces. Well, if you've ever felt that way, you are definitely not alone. We're going to try and make sense of it all by diving into the ideas of relationship coach Saudia Khan because she has some really counterintuitive answers to the biggest questions we all have about love. And Khan cuts right to the chase with this one fundamental question. In this world of swiping and algorithms, is that feeling we call love actually enough to make a relationship last? I think her answer is going to surprise you. So just let that sink in for a second. That intense, can't eat, can't sleep feeling of being in love, it's not supposed to be a constant fire, according to Khan. It's designed to come and go, to go up and down. And you know what? That one single idea completely changes the game on how we should be building a partnership. Which brings us to our first big takeaway. If you're building your entire relationship on the foundation of love, what happens when that feeling naturally fades for a bit? You panic. You think it's over. But according to Khan, what's really happening is you just built your house on shaky ground from the very beginning. Okay, so that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If that intense, passionate feeling isn't the superglue holding a relationship together for the long haul, then what is? What should we actually be looking for? And this, right here, illustrates the difference perfectly. Over on one side, you've got love. It's feelings, passion, emotion, all stuff that's all over the place. But on the other side, you've got compatibility. And that is the solid stuff. Stable, consistent. Things like your shared values, your views on money, on kids. It's like this. Love might be the roller coaster, but compatibility is the actual track it runs on. And let's be super clear on what she means by compatibility. This is not about liking the same movies or music. No. It's about a deep alignment on the big things, the non-negotiables. Do you and your partner define trust and loyalty in the exact same way? Do you fundamentally agree on what's right and what's wrong? That, Khan says, is the real bedrock of a relationship that can actually last. But okay, even if you find someone compatible, things can still go wrong if you don't feel valued. And this brings us to what Khan calls the appreciation gap. It's this idea that men and women are often speaking completely different emotional languages. We're trying to show appreciation, but it's getting lost in translation. So let's start with the guys. You often hear that men want respect above all else. But Khan argues that there's an even deeper emotional need that, for many men, trumps everything, even love itself. And that need is appreciation. She calls it the gas in the machine, which is such a great way to put it. Without that fuel, a man's engine just sputters out. He starts to disengage, not just from the relationship, but from everything. Appreciation is what keeps him invested and patient, especially when things get hard. So, how can women show appreciation in a language that men will actually hear? Khan gets very specific. She lays out 3 key ways. Number 1, sexual intimacy, which she calls a powerful way for men to feel valued. Number 2, predicting his needs. Those small acts of service that show you're thinking of him. And number 3, unwavering loyalty. He needs to know you've got his back, period. All right, so that's one side of the gap. Let's flip it. How do men show appreciation in a way that makes their female partners feel truly seen, safe, and valued? Again, she outlines 3 key actions for men. First, be a problem solver. Be an asset in her life. Help her with things, big and small. Second, investment. And we're not just talking about money here. We're talking about your focused time and energy. And finally, protection and concern. Just checking in, making sure she's safe and okay. It shows she's on your mind, even when you're not together. Now, we have to go to a much darker place for a minute. Because if we know what a healthy relationship looks like, why do so many of us end up in painful, toxic situations over and over and over again? It's a question that can keep you up at night, right? Why do I keep picking people who aren't good for me? What is this pattern? Well, Khan's answer has absolutely nothing to do with wanting to be in pain. This quote is incredibly powerful. Just let it sit with you for a second. What she's saying here is that our romantic choices as adults are almost always just an echo of whatever we experienced as love when we were kids, for better or for worse. And this is the absolute key distinction to make. We don't seek out pain on purpose. We subconsciously seek out what feels familiar. So if your childhood home was filled with chaos or neglect or unpredictability, your brain literally codes that feeling as love. And the really tragic result of this programming is that when a genuinely kind, stable, healthy person comes into your life, it can feel, boring. It's so unfamiliar that your brain doesn't know what to do with it. And that's often when we subconsciously start to self-sabotage, to push that good thing away so we can get back to the chaos that feels like home. This all leads us directly into one of the most popular and maybe most overused words in the entire dating world right now: narcissist. Khan argues that the way most people use this label, especially online, is a massive misunderstanding of what real narcissistic abuse actually is. Here's her main point. For a lot of people, calling an ex a narcissist has just become a convenient shortcut. It makes them the pure evil villain in the story, which lets us off the hook from having to look at our own choices, the choices that led us to attach to that person in the first place. And this table just lays out the difference so starkly. The person you see online posting memes about their narcissist ex who becomes a trauma coach, that's one thing. But according to Khan, a person who has endured abuse from a true narcissist, they rarely use that word. In fact, they often defend their abuser. They genuinely believe that they were the problem. They can spend years trying to get that person back. It's a whole different reality. And this paradoxical quote just sums it all up, doesn't it? The brainwashing from a true narcissist is so deep, so complete, that the victim is the last person to see it. So if you're 100% certain you were with a narcissist, Khan's argument is you probably weren't. So where does that leave us? If we can't just blame our exes, what is the actual way forward? How do we find healthy relationships? Well, Khan says it all begins with a radical shift in focus. You have to stop looking at them and start looking at you. The path forward, she says, is about taking complete and utter accountability. It means doing an honest inventory of your own bad decisions that put you in that situation. And most importantly, it means changing the question you ask yourself. You have to stop asking, "How was I abused?" and start asking, "How can I improve myself so I stop attaching to people who are abusive?" And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought to sit with. If you look back and your relationships all seem to follow the exact same script with the same patterns and the same ending, just with different people playing the roles, there's only one common denominator in all of those stories. It's a challenging idea for sure, but it's also the one that puts the power to change the entire narrative right back in your hands.